Afternoon. Thank you for allowing us to present our program in Krabbe disease. I'm going to start today with a pre-recorded message from our Chief Executive Officer, Rachel McMahon. And so if you could play that for us, please.
Hi, my name is Rachel McMahon. I'm founder and CEO of Neurogene, a company focused on developing genetic medicines for rare neurological diseases. Before I tell you more about our company, I wanted to give you some insight into me and how Neurogene came to be Neurogene and not something else. It was nearly 40 years ago when I first remember listening to my father pontificate about the future of science when I was about 7 or 8 years old. I remember him telling me someday in the future, there would be molecular scissors that scientists would create to cut out diseased genes and replace them with healthy genes. I thought that was just science fiction, but I was very intrigued and never forgot about that idea. I went on to major in chemistry in college, got a PhD in molecular biology and chemistry, and continued work as a postdoctoral fellow. I didn't know it at the time, but all those years of scientific training would help me turn my dad's dream of molecular scissors into reality. Over the next 13 years, I worked on Wall Street as a biotechnology equity analyst. I made predictions and published extensively on what technologies and which drugs would succeed or failed. I learned what corporate strategies worked and the recipes that led to failure. I helped explain to investors which companies were going to be the most successful and why, and I gained the trust and respect of people across the industry. While I loved researching cutting edge technologies as an analyst, I became over time less and less satisfied on the sidelines. I wanted to do something important that would benefit the families who are affected by disease. So as the next step, I left Wall Street and helped lead a biotechnology company for several years to gain critical experience of how to run a company. But by late 2017, I knew I needed to do what I'd been wanting to do my whole life. I needed to turn my attention to developing drugs for families with devastating neurological disease. Why? Because my older brother, Paul, has an undiagnosed rare neurological disease and continues to this day to require 24-hour care. As a sibling, I experienced his disease firsthand. I witnessed the incredible denial from my parents, and I felt the extreme helplessness that goes along when a loved one is incredibly sick. It was scary growing up in a house where there was always a crisis. No one knew what was wrong with Paul, and so no one knew how to help him. And so, as a scientist, as someone who's been deeply involved in the biotechnology industry for over 20 years, and as a sibling forever impacted by neurological disease, I started Neurogene to advance meaningful treatments where we can make a real difference, not just for the person affected, but for the entire family unit, for all the siblings and the parents and the extended family that is affected. Timing matters, and now is the time. We are in the middle of a medical revolution where genetic testing combined with novel biotechnology has the potential to revolutionize disease as we know it. Neurogene is focused on diseases where we can make a big difference. In order to be successful, I knew we would need 3 things to build Neurogene. 1, great products. We've spent a lot of time over the last couple of years optimizing our products to ensure top-notch starting materials to generate high-quality products. 2, great manufacturing. We've hired incredible people who are using the most advanced technology to make these very technically complicated products. We're also well underway in building out our own manufacturing facility so we can ensure control of our own destiny and not be at the mercy of third-party manufacturers. And third, a streamlined approach. To work on these many rare diseases, we need to be efficient and leverage all of our great science and our manufacturing know-how and soon our clinical trial know-how to execute program after program after program so that we can advance as quickly as possible safe and effective products to the families who need them. So fast forward from 2018 to today, and we've made significant progress, including attracting top-tier investors who believe in our mission and hiring a team of talented and committed people, many of whom have also been impacted personally by rare disease and share the same sense of urgency I personally feel. I know we have much more work to do, and I'll admit, no matter how fast we move, I'm never satisfied at our pace because I know that patients and families like you are desperately waiting. I really appreciate this opportunity to speak to you about Neurogene, and I look forward to the day when we may have the opportunity to meet in person. Thank you so much. Hi.
Thank you. So as Rachel indicated, we're a company that focuses on researching and developing genetic medicines for rare monogenic neurologic diseases, including Krabbe. And our programs use a highly efficient adeno-associated virus. You've heard that term many times today now. Vector-based gene therapy technology that will deliver a normal gene to patients with a dysfunctional gene. And this will be a one-time treatment that should enable these cells to have the normal gene, the cells of the patient to have the normal gene for the rest of their life. We recently announced we are developing a treatment for Krabbe disease, and proof of concept, or in other words, proofs that or evidence that the approach is effective has been achieved in the dog model of Krabbe, and I'll show those data in the next slide. And we are now entering IND enabling studies and expect to submit the IND in 2022 next year. Next slide, please. And so this is a graph of some of the data from the test of the efficacy of this product in dogs with Krabbe disease. And this dog model of Krabbe results in a severe deficiency in GALC, the enzyme that is missing in Krabbe disease, with onset of symptoms between 6 and 12 weeks of age. And as Dr. Escolar mentioned, the dogs often are reaching their what's called the humane endpoint, or when they are too sick to continue to live before 20 weeks of age. They show ataxia or instability of gait, weakness, myelin loss, and shortened lifespan. So really do recapitulate or mirror many of the key features of Krabbe disease. And in the graph on the left, you can see plots of survival data. This is just one endpoint that was measured and generally correlates with symptoms. And the black line indicates animals that did not receive the gene therapy, they just received saline. And the subsequent lines are animals that received different doses at different time points. So there was a high and a low dose tested, and a treatment at 2 weeks before symptoms started, and a treatment at 6 weeks after symptoms started. And as you can make out from the red line in particular, treating early at the highest dose was the most effective. And those dogs were essentially clinically normal through 2 years of follow-up. And so they're still going strong. 1 in 4 dogs treated with the high dose after symptom onset at 6 weeks survived to 2 years, and that's the purple line. So these data really reinforce that the earlier treatment is given in the course of disease, the better, but also the dose is important for efficacy. Next slide, please. And this is a graphical representation of our portfolio, again, showing that we're entering the IND enabling phase with our drug for Krabbe, our treatment for Krabbe disease, and we'll expect to file the IND next year, which would support starting a clinical trial. Next slide, please. And these are contact information for people in the company that you can reach out to with any questions. I'm, of course, happy to take questions at this time. And thank you so much for this opportunity for us to present our program to you.